when it comes to balancing building those right foundations versus growth after having those right foundations, what have you noticed to be the most important thing to transition from one to the other? Because that is a challenge, right? It's we have the right foundations and then we have growth. And because of the chaotic nature of growth, foundations can be altered or affected. So how do you manage those transitions? What is very important to know or to understand when you're going to, especially I'm guessing that's kind of like the period where you're going at now is, okay, we went through the process before, we made the mistake because growth changed our foundations, but what are we going to do now that we rebuilt our foundations to have productive growth in the future?
I think there's so many different things you could do, but one is, of course, to also learn how to say no. To collaborations, to wholesalers that are not the right for us, to different types of, I think in everything we do, in every type of collaboration that Dagmar is going to be sitting together with, what type of situation it is, it has to be right for the brand. So rather not do it if it's not 100% Dagmar. I think that's like the most important, not just to be happy for someone asking if we could do something together and do it. It has to really, really work with the brand and cohere with our woman. And she has to be inspired. Yeah, that's our goal the whole time, to inspire our woman in so many different ways. And if we do something that doesn't inspire her, then we have not succeeded, I guess.
But we can also not be for everyone. So we heard you have to broaden your target group.
Of course. And it's a very difficult balance.
Yeah. So we can't, I mean, we have decided we shall not be for everyone. That is the best decision we ever took.
I mean, for everyone as an end customer, yes, we're just happy that if everyone loves our brand, but we have to have a target who we aim for. Yeah. And then if that comes out to everyone else, of course, then we're more than happy for
everyone
that.
But invited, of course.
But I think we have to have a clear vision and super strong goal of who we are aiming for.
I mean, we can't consider in everyone as a target group, because then we would like be very unclear of the brand
vision.
Yeah. So this has also been a part of building a brand and hearing from everyone who wants to broaden the target group, or they want us to do some think outside the box, do some crazy things. And we are like, yeah, maybe. And I think crazy things can be in our little box, perhaps. But sometimes it's also good for us to hear and be kicked in the ass to take some steps that we don't normally do. So
yeah, for sure.
It's fun.
Yeah, everyone has to be pushed a certain way, as long as it's the right way.
Yeah, it's almost like entrepreneurs are interesting because we listen to everything, yet we ignore everything, and we mostly learn because we messed up, not because somebody warned us about it. That's what I've come to realize.
Learning by doing.
Yeah. And I've always said it, because it is, I mean, you hear people, the importance of making mistakes, but it really is because there's almost, if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to learn if you don't put your hand on the fire. And as long as you avoid catastrophic mistakes, you'll sort of be all right in the long term. That's just how the process looks like.
For sure.
And what about, go ahead. Sorry.
No, but there's always a way out. I mean, there's been so many situations where I felt like, okay, maybe how will we get out of this situation? But I feel like we always find a way somehow. And I think that's also something, just not give up, just continue to go until it's not possible anymore. It's like, there's always a way. That's a super entrepreneur thoughts.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And what about when you have, board pressures? Did you restructure your board? Because I mean, those incentives are there, and investors rarely change, because they have a completely set of incentives usually, unless it's the right investor from the very beginning, which is another mistake that people tend to make very often. So how do you manage that process in this new stage of
We
change?
we have some investors in the company that is super supporting, and we feel very great about them. Actually, we have a really good contact, and they are trusting us a lot and supporting. So we
that's
feel
one
very
good
great.
part, yeah. And also in the board, we feel at this moment, for not the first time maybe, but I feel really confident. Everyone who's there, we have great discussions, and but I also think that we are stronger together now than we've ever been, probably. So it's also, if we are strong in our opinion, our way, and have a clear path, it's also easier for everyone else to understand us and to trust us, I think.
Interesting. And when it comes to because I mean, it's a brand, very well established brand, but it's still relatively a small team, right? What is it, 35 to 50 people roughly?
30 even.
And the resources from a team perspective are kind of limited, especially based on how strong the brand is right now. So when it comes to finding the right partners, do you think everything is better if you manage to grow very, very? I'm trying to understand what's your whole mindset on growth now, because again, it's a brand with a lot of growth potential. Yeah, it's a small team. So is it more about patiently hiring everybody that you think is right for the culture? Is it more about finding the right international partners to help you sort of like balance growth versus patience? Because it's how are you making those decisions? Is it also based on, do they understand the customer? How are you making those decisions, or what are you thinking about all of this in general?
Great
Also,
question.
kind of many questions on the same time, but let's see.
Yeah, but
I
I
mean,
think it's a bit like the last point that you said. I think it's a combination, a bit of growing much more internationally now, and building the brand at the same time, hiring people, because I feel like we have a great fundament now to grow as well, where we are now. We have a few places where we need to fill, but I think we feel that we are quite good for now. And I think we don't need many more people in order to take the next step in growth. And I think there's like a next step where we could reach with a few more places to fill, and then we could go quite far from that place. But then it's like the next step again, and then it's a different situation. So I think it's like you have to see it in different types of steps. Yeah. And we have to take it step by step, basically, at this point.
Interesting. And are you thinking about the steps more in terms of markets or strategies, channels, people?
In growth, I think.
Yes.
Yes, in growth and in people, to be able to make that growth happen, of course. But then, of course, the markets and the strategies goes into that. But I think the strategy is quite clear and is quite strong in the company at this moment. I think that's quite set now. We've been working a lot with that, and I feel we're strong in what we're doing, but now we need to have some growth in the company and grow internationally as well. I think that's where,
I mean, we're growing quite a lot through like we can see that the consumer is like really
the consumer accepted the brand quite easily.
So we're growing on our website with new people coming in, and also like social media is growth. But what we need is to find the right partners in retailers that we can grow with. So that is going
that we feel works for the brand, and that's going to cohere with brand.
I mean, we have actually changed the whole distribution strategy. So all those partners we have now today are super much aligned with the brand and the position we have, and it feels, when we are working with them, it's so easy. It's just like selling out. They have the right customer, really like buying into Dagmar. We just had a launch in New York in a store, and they sold out everything in the first 2.5 weeks. So it was like, wow, okay, here we have the customer. So it's very easy now when we have done this rebranding and select the new like partners in stores, and it feels like it's just a smooth path in a way. So
We have
We just
reached
have
we have
to
reached
find a
our
new-
customer more or
yeah,
less, and
yeah.
not everywhere, but like in a few places. And when that meets, I think that's when it becomes really good.
yeah,
Of course, yeah. The newfound, the rebuilt foundations attract better relationships, which therefore attracts better end consumers. Interesting. That's definitely. I mean, that's a simple yet deep, I think, strategy from a sales perspective. But what about from a communications perspective? What do you think has been the most productive recently? Has it been collaborations? Is it just being very controlling with advertising and social media content? What do you think is the most productive thing to go about growth?
I mean, as you say, we're a small brand. We don't have any money for any big
course.
collaborations, any big marketing activities. We have been growing quite organically, I must say.
Oh, yeah,
Only
only
basically.
organically, but just also quite showing the brand,
Mhm.
the life of the brand. That is the only thing we're doing.
And of course, some people wants to wear Dagmar, and I think we have also there, as we said, in growing the brand, we have also been choosing the right partners to work with to wear our clothes. And I think that's also been something that we've changed, that we have really met our Dagmar woman also in person many times. And I think that's very important to have the right person, because she inspires our woman, and it's going to go quite easily, the wheel.
Mm.
Yes.
yeah,
Yep. Just like a human relationship. Who are you will attract better friendships.
Yeah.
As a business, who you are will attract better customers and better partners.
Very true.
Interesting.
Good.
Awesome. So just to sort of like wrap up this entire episode, and I did ask you this question before, but I'm going to ask it again a little bit more in a broader sense.